Welcome to the Soul Aligned Leader Masterclass interview series. It's about thriving as an awakened soul aligned leader, alchemizing your purpose, and embodying your gifts through your unique service based business. We are truly so delighted that you're joining us on this powerful journey and that you're ready to shift and align and step deeper into the soul service that you're here to bring for humanity. I'm your host, Shirley Lohmaier, and today we have Emmy Mutali with us. I'm so delighted to have her joining us. She is the founder of The Feminine Revered. She's an intuitive healer, energy medicine practitioner, and a shamanic womb priestess and teacher dedicated to reawakening ancient feminine wisdom. She holds safe, sacred space for deep healing and transformation for women of all ages around the world, enabling the emergence of authentic connection, profound knowing, and inner power, and raises the frequency of our planet by fostering healing one womb at a time. Sure, so beautiful. Emmy is also a best-selling author and host of the Sacred Feminine Power podcast and runs House of Gaia, a suburban sanctuary and a center for healing and transformation in Lusaka, Zambia. With an MA in human rights and a 2-decade-long career in the humanitarian field, Emmy continues to work on women and children's rights and is an advocate for health and freedom. Beautiful. Welcome, Emmy. I feel so honored to have you here today, and I just really honor you for the deep and incredible work that you do on behalf of humanity. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. It is such a blessing to be part of this series and just delighted to be with you right now.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. So I think an awesome place to start, Emmy, would be to share a little bit of your story of awakening, because people can really relate to stories and feel the power of that. So please share what resonates with you.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. I feel called to share that from a very, very early age, when I was a little girl, I was already drawn to the healing arts and fascinated by shamanic societies and different ways in which we could really bring about a better world and support people to feel better about themselves. And I started meditating at an early age around my teenage years
Wow.
and started learning my first healing modalities when I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
And yet, at the same time, I was also very ambitious and I was very keen to build my career in the humanitarian field, especially in women's and child rights. And once I started to get more and more engrossed on that career path, I kind of stepped away from my spiritual journey quite a bit and was very focused on climbing the career ladder for quite a number of years and really wanting to get to top positions in organizations and aid agencies and taking on more and more responsible jobs and tasks along the way. And during that time, as I was building my career, I also met my future husband, and we had two small children in quite a short amount of time as well. So I was juggling a full time job
Sure.
and two tiny kids.
Wow.
And my focus was very, very much on the kids and on my job. And I kind of forgot myself in that process.
Mm.
And I realized that in my strive for what I considered success then, and in my strive to be a perfect mother that I really wanted to be at that time as well, I really just kept on ignoring my own needs. So I kept on ignoring the growing tiredness that I could feel throughout my entire body. I ignored the growing pain that I was already starting to feel because I was so overworked. And of course, with a tiny baby at the time, I hardly slept at night as well. So I maybe got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night. And just pushing and pushing and pushing myself harder and harder, and not considering my own emotional and physical well being in that process at all. And it got to a point where I was literally so on the edge that I was snapping at my husband and at my kids at the smallest of things. And I could feel that I wasn't myself, but I had no way to come out of that at that point. I didn't know what to do. And it really just culminated me in one day, just literally collapsing on the bathroom floor. I had just yelled at my husband and my kids, and I was like at this deepest, darkest hole that I could be in. And to be honest, if we had stopped sleeping pills at the house at that time, I probably wouldn't be here anymore.
Okay.
But thank goodness we didn't.
Mm,
And it was really in that moment of desperation
mm,
that somehow I started to feel this very faint, tiny stirring inside my chest, inside my heart space. It was like this tiny seed was starting to grow. And although I didn't fully understand it at the time, I somehow in my subconscious recognized that I was going to be okay. I didn't know how, I
beautiful.
didn't know what the next
Mm,
steps were going to be, but that hope was there. And it was slowly from that day that I really started to get back onto my spiritual path. And I started remembering those healing modalities that I'd learned. And I started to come across healers and mentors and started to build a support system around me that then really got me back onto this path of healing and transformation. And
mm,
for many years still to come, I kept on balancing my career and my healing and transformation work until it got to a point where I just realized, like, no, this is enough now. I need to get off this hamster wheel. I am not serving me and I'm not serving those I'm meant to serve here on this planet in this lifetime
mm,
as well as I could. And
mm,
it really then, after many, many years of kind of going back into that loop of working super hard, many, many hours and forgetting
mm,
about myself and then re-remembering myself again and then going down again that path of forgetting, that I finally got to the point of like, okay, I need to change things. And that's when I decided to stop working in the development aid and the humanitarian
okay.
field
Mm,
and really, started my healing and transformation business and took a leap of faith and jumped into
mm.
that full time.
Yeah, beautiful. That's amazing, Amy. And I can relate to that so much, even for myself. Um, Especially that feeling as a woman when you're caught in a more masculine world and you're really working hard and you're going for goals and you're going for gold and they're very real dreams and they're very possible dreams. Um, but I think we tend to forget that it doesn't have to be an either or, right? It doesn't have to be an either or. We don't have to
Yes,
sacrifice ourselves to achieve our success. Um, and
that's right.
that's the beauty of that story that you shared with me. Um, and also that feeling of knowing even when you were a young girl about the healing arts. And that's how our soul is, right? It's what we were when we were young, and those dreams we had that we were young that we actually connect back to when we really step onto our path. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And so then stepping more into the womb wisdom, which is, really your area of specialty, and obviously is such a deep and really necessary path for women to find themselves and to walk in their own power. Um, so how did you awaken to your own womb wisdom? What was that journey for you?
Mm.
Mm,
Well, I was, to be honest, disconnected from my womb space for a good part of my life.
mm,
Even though I had been pregnant and I had two kids, I realized afterwards that I was always connecting to my babies inside my womb, but I wasn't actually connecting to my womb space.
mm,
And it always felt to me like there was something missing on my journey. And there was something that I was disconnecting from, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it until I started to work more and more in the field of the divine feminine and really learning about the balancing of the masculine and feminine energies inside our bodies, and started to come across more and more work and programs and texts and videos about our womb spaces and
mm,
the importance and the beauty and the power of our womb spaces. And I started to understand that, wow, this is something. There's something really, really important here.
mm.
And then I came across a 9-month womb awakening shamanic apprenticeship taught by my mentors, Saren and Azra Bertrand, two incredible magical beings. And when I saw this apprenticeship being advertised, I was like, okay, that is it. I need to do this. But I
Beautiful.
wasn't sure if I had the money or the time at that point in my life.
Mm.
So I kind of put it in the background for a little bit. And then I remember this so vividly. I was sitting on my sofa and I was journaling and reflecting, and I was kind of just doodling in my journal. And suddenly I went into this really deep, like a trance state. And I had this vision of this beautiful woman with long brownish hair, with beautiful robes, and this horned headdress that she was wearing. And I drew it because it was such a powerful vision. So I doodled her into my journal.
Mhm.
And then a couple of days later, Saren and Azra promoted their womb awakening apprenticeship again. And the image they used to promote it
Oh, wow.
was of a woman in robes with a
Beautiful.
horned
I've got
headdress.
goosebumps.
So
It's beautiful.
I've got goosebumps all over me when I talk about that. But that for me was like, okay, it's meant to be. So I signed up, and that was the beginning of a really beautiful, deepening spiral journey into the wisdom of my womb space and into the power of my womb space. And a
Mm,
journey that I'm very much still on, very much learning to go deeper and
mm,
deeper, and really harnessing the wisdom of my womb with everything that I do, from my business to when I work with my clients, to when I do even the tiniest of planning for my life. I connect and consult my womb when I do that.
beautiful. Yeah. So it's really like, it's almost like your North Star, right? It's really guiding you. Yeah. Beautiful. It's a beautiful connection that. Um, and I love that story of your soul showing you that picture, because that's just soul language, isn't it? When you get shown something and then a portal opens like that. It's amazing. Mm. Um, okay, so now if I'm assuming that there are listeners who are perhaps in that space where they're feeling disconnected from their womb, and I'm sure there's many reasons for that. So what would be your wisdom for them and on where they are in their journey, of ways that they could connect in, or step away from that disconnection? What would you want to share?
Sure, absolutely. I think it's really important for us to remember that we have been programmed to forget the power of our womb spaces.
Mm,
And it is this very systematic, very structured, centuries long patriarchal programming that has really disengaged us, disconnected us from remembering how powerful our womb spaces are. And that's for a purpose. It is specifically because our wombs are so powerful. And we can use our wombs really to connect with other dimensions, to connect with our inner wisdom, to connect with that North Star that you mentioned,
mm,
and to connect with eons and eons of knowledge and wisdom that goes way back to the origins of humanity.
mm,
And to remember the wisdom of our ancestors, the wise old ones who were so connected to the womb, and who lived according to womb cosmology, where everything was understood to originate from the womb space, the physical womb space in women, but
mm,
also the womb of Mother Earth. So
mm,
all the nurturance and the nourishment and the abundance of our planet
mm,
comes from the womb of Gaia,
mm,
as well as the great cosmic womb, the primordial black hole from which everything has been birthed in our universe and the multiverses that we live within.
mm,
And the more we learn to connect with our womb spaces, the more we can really step onto our paths, remembering who we truly are, remembering our own divinity and our this beautiful sacred connection that we have to humanity, to everything that is alive on our planet, to Mother Earth, to the cosmos. We are all connected, and our womb spaces are beautiful portals into that remembrance. And of course, we can also use our womb spaces to manifest, to birth, to create new things,
mm.
create new life, which in itself is a miracle. And we often forget
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
But also create projects, to create art, to create writing, books, healing, anything that we are wishing and wanting to create and birth, we can do that by using the power of our womb spaces.
Mm,
And if you are new to this, and also if you no longer have a physical womb space, this is really important. If you no longer have a physical womb space, you can still connect to the energy and vibration of your womb. That vibration will always be with you. And you
mm.
can work with that and play with that and have fun with that
Yeah.
vibration as well.
Even a man can do
And
that, right? A man has a spiritual womb space, you know? Mm,
Absolutely.
Mm,
Yes, they also do. And of course, we've all been born into and through collective womb consciousness. So we
100%.
all are connected.
100%.
Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely.
mm,
And if you are just learning to start to connect with your womb space, the easiest way really to do is simply to place your hands over your lower belly, over your womb space, or the vibration of your womb, and close your eyes and take a couple of really deep breaths and
mm,
start to go inwards. And if you'd like to do this with me, you're welcome
mm.
to, just to try it out as
Absolutely.
well.
Mm,
And just form that connection with your womb. It
mm,
might feel a little bit strange and awkward at first, but the more you do this, the easier it becomes.
mm,
And as you form that connection, just smile at your womb. Just simply smile at her
mm,
and say hello to her.
mm,
And at first, that's all you need to do as you start to build that connection.
mm,
And then over time, you can start to tune into the energy in your womb space. And just really just feeling into, is it feeling flowing and light and joyous in there? Or does it
mm.
feel darker and more stagnant? And is the vibration a bit low today? And if that is the
Okay.
case, what does your womb need? What do you need to do today with your body, with your presence, with your essence to change that vibration inside your womb? And
Mm,
you can literally just ask your womb, what do you need? What do you need in this moment? How can I help you? And your womb will start to speak to you over
mm.
time. And you can also ask questions from your womb if you need to make a decision, for example. You can
Absolutely.
absolutely pose that question to your womb space and
Mm,
simply just wait for the answer. Sometimes it doesn't come right away. Sometimes you might need to sleep over it. And in the morning, you wake up with this beautiful, deeper understanding and a response to your question. And sometimes your womb will respond right away.
mm.
And I feel called to share another brief story from when I
Please.
was just learning to really get to know my womb space.
Mhm,
I was just building my healing and transformation business, and I was putting together the pieces for my signature program, which is all about healing the 5 core feminine wounds, which includes the mother wound, the sister wound, the
mm.
body wound, the menstruation wound, and the womb wound. And
Okay.
I was in that phase where I was like, I'm not sure I'm on the right track, and maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe nobody will want to do this work with me. Those questioning
Yeah, of
that
course.
often comes in the beginning of building a business.
Mhm,
And I went into a deep meditation and I just simply connected with my womb space and I asked her, is this the right path for me? And literally, my womb responded with a drumbeat. It was as strong and tangible. It was
wow.
incredible. It's like my womb just went doo-dum. And that for me was like, okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. I
Mm,
shall continue on this path. It's like one of those moments where there's absolutely no doubt. It's like
mm.
the response has been given.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that practical advice about connecting to your womb space because it really is simple. We just have to take the time to slow down enough and to expect the answer. I think sometimes we can be too afraid that there's going to be no answer or we can't feel the energy or you get stuck in your head about these things. Um, so also the need to practice it often and to keep coming back and really sink deeper into that wisdom is quite important. Like you say, that spiral, right? It's not a linear journey. Mm,
No, it definitely isn't. And
mm,
but in a way, it really is like building a muscle. The more
mm,
you go to the gym or the more you lift weights or do your push-ups or whatever it is that you do to build your muscles, it takes time.
mm.
And over time, you notice that your muscles are becoming stronger. It is exactly the same with connecting with your womb space. And the
Absolutely.
more you stick with it, the more you practice and allow yourself to have those moments when your womb doesn't speak to you. Because sometimes that is also a way of communicating. When
Mm,
the womb doesn't speak,
mm,
learning to be okay with that. Learning
mm.
to be okay with the waiting, learning to be okay with the allowing of that silence and that perhaps even the void or the emptiness, and becoming more and more comfortable in being in that space.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So really what this is about is it's a journey of almost stepping away from being the consumers and connected into the matrix and stepping into this place of grounding your inner wisdom and starting to hear your creation, your creatrix, your creative voice coming forward, right? And
Yeah,
that's the womb, that's the root of the womb, is
that's
especially for people who want to step out of working for somebody else or out of some other career, and they're trying to find and launch their unique soul wisdom, right? This is a perfect journey for that, isn't it?
yes,
Mm.
absolutely. And when you are connected to your inner truth and your inner wisdom, you are always connected to the wisdom of Mother Earth, and you're always connected to Source, to the Great Mother.
Absolutely. 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 Yeah. That's really interesting because for me, I do Tao energy healing modalities, which work with your masculine and feminine side. But having worked quite extensively with that, it was like my womb actually came forward to say to me, but I'm also a root. It's not like you only stand on two legs. Do you know what I mean? Like you've also got a womb that's a root. And it actually gave me much more structure almost to have a foundation of three underneath me instead of just left and right. And um, I'm sharing this because I just think it's really made a difference to me energetically to feel that my womb is completely grounded into the earth and connected right to the center of the earth. Mm.
That is so beautiful. And of course, our wombs are also connected to our throats, and our
Okay.
wombs are connected. So when we work with our throat chakra and
Mm-hmm.
we learn to, express ourselves authentically and speak our truth without caring what others are going to think and say, which especially for us women, it can be a huge, huge deal. The more we work
Absolutely.
with our throat chakra, the more we open up the area in the womb space, and also the cervix and the vagina, the yoni. They
Yeah.
are so closely connected. So the more we work we do on either one of these sacred spaces, the more we support the other as well, and are bringing our whole bodies and our whole essence into greater balance.
Mm. Fantastic. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. It's good wisdom. Amazing.
Hmm.
Mm. Wow. Okay. And is there anything else that comes forward to you for you or
Hmm. Well, I think one important thing to remember is that it's never too late to start connecting with
yeah.
your womb space. It's never too late to start healing that wounding and that trauma that might be holding you back, and
Mm.
that keeps you from loving yourselves exactly the way you are. And it's never too late to reconnect and re-remember that
Mm.
ancient feminine wisdom that is
Beautiful.
really rising up on our planet at the moment, and that we can access in so many beautiful ways, and
Mm.
especially through our wombs.
100%. Bless. Thank you, Emmy. Wow. This has been such a lovely conversation and just such a deeper realization. And you truly embody the message that you're bringing, which is really wonderful. I know that when people can watch and feel the embodiment, it brings change automatically, into their energetic space. So thank you for that. It's amazing. Um, Yes. And then I see that you have a beautiful free gift that you're offering to my audience. Thank you so much. It's called You Are a Miracle Activation. Would you like to tell us a little bit
Yes.
about that?
Yeah, sure. So
Mm.
that is actually a transmission that came to me a couple of years ago. And it is a message from the wise old crone. So this wise, um, fearless presence of the woman who has passed through menopause and is in her power and is rooted in her
Beautiful.
wisdom, rooted in love as well. And it essentially is a transmission about your divinity. It reminds you of who you truly are. That because you are a miracle. We all are miracles.
Mm.
So this is like a guided meditation that activates this remembrance within you, within yourselves, and
Beautiful.
reminds you to really take ownership of your divinity.
Mm. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I mean, the wise old crone is that free woman as well, right? She's standing in the power of her freedom, which is just so beautiful. Mm. The time is now.
Yes, time is now.
Absolutely. Sure. Thank you, Emmy. My heart is full, and I can feel a stronger connection to my womb just by having spent time with you and placing my awareness there and honoring that wisdom that is so innate and is so present. So thank you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Mm,
Thank you.
thank you.